Let's go, Coach.
Good. Let's go ahead and get started here.
There's a lot. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, now we can get started, I guess.
Coach, I want to ask you about how this year's been. Some up and downs with the offense. Week 2, week 3, benching the quarterback, and now you're considered one of the top offensive coordinators in the game. Is that the game of football, ups and downs?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think it's part of what you go through in a transition. Obviously, we had relatively young offense and new faces that we were trying to figure out who we were. A lot of the credit goes to the staff that we have, and they've worked tirelessly to continue to improve our roster, continue to get our players better. Our players have put in a tremendous amount of effort and work to get to where they've become. I think each week we're kind of able to stack things on top of each other and add wrinkles to what we're doing offensively and really expand on the system that was in place and what we were trying to accomplish. But it takes a whole effort from a lot of people. We have a tremendous staff that have worked really hard and bought into what we were trying to do. I think everybody kind of just kept going, and there were some hard times, and that's part of this game, but I think ultimately we've become better for it. Our players just kind of kept working, never really dipped in their belief of what we could become, and without that adversity, I don't think we're in the spot we're at right now. And so, as a guy that's in front of the group, and we always talk about it being a we, us, our offense. I'm extremely proud of the effort and the work that's been put in to become where we're at. It's not about me, it's not about any individual, it's about the group collectively putting in the time and effort to get to where we've been. And look, hopefully we continue to build off of that momentum, and our focus is on the task at hand. And that's one thing our group has done a great job all year is, what are we trying to accomplish today, and let's focus on that. And again, just extremely proud and fortunate to be with the group of players and coaches that we have here. And it's been a pretty surreal experience for me, and it brings a lot of gratification to what we do.
Coach, where have you seen Jalen Milroe take the biggest improvement from game number 1 to game number 13?
Yeah, obviously Jalen's put in a lot of effort and work to improve his game. I think his overall control of the offense and what we're asking to do. Each week, like I said, we're trying to stack things up on top of each other and add to what we do and enhance what we do. And it's probably week 8 or 9, I kind of pulled him aside during a practice and I say, hey, it's pretty cool where we're at now, where we were 8 weeks ago. And look at all the things now that we're asking you to do, all these different things that now you're in control of. And, for a young quarterback that, he hadn't played a lot of football coming into the season, that's part of the progression. And all the credit goes to Jalen. The adversity he went through, the humility he handled it with, the ability to persevere and put his head down and work, to want to be better, to want to get better, to want the challenge of being the guy in front of the group, to want the challenge of we're going to continue to add to this thing and try to enhance your strengths. Again, all the credit goes to him. And so, to see him take control of the offense, to see him, as a passer develop, to see him be decisive in his ability to run the football, like all those steps were, his effort, his time on task, his work to put in. And again, like I talked about being proud of the entire group. That relationship with him, you don't get that experience very often. And to say I'm proud of him would be a vast understatement. And but again, he deserves the credit to where he's been, and he's a great competitor. He's mentally tough as anybody you'll find. It's a lot of credit to his parents and what they've been able to raise him and to be the young man that he is. And he's been I've been really fortunate to coach him and help him along this path. But again, he deserves the credit. He's done a tremendous job of working towards his goal all year.
Tommy, when Coach Saban spoke at Disney yesterday, he said a turning point for the offense this year came when the staff made a decision to maybe do less of what the staff wanted to do offensively and focus more on what suited the talent. Was that decision made coming out of USF? And can you just kind of walk us through what that entailed?
Yeah, that's kind of the progression I'm talking about of stacking things on top of each other where we want to be. I think when we made the decision after USF, hey, we're going to try to build things around what we do really well, build it around Jalen. That took a couple weeks to transpire. You know, you look at the A&M game where we threw it around because we kind of knew that's what we needed to be that week and build the pass game around what Jalen likes, to where we're at against LSU and start implementing some of the run game stuff with Jalen. And then, you know, what are the matchups we try to find with our skilled players? You know, who out of the backfield can we use in different spots? You know, obviously Kendrick Law's package about, you know, developing and, you know, really finding the strengths of who we are and saying, let's put everything around these guys. And, you know, that's been a turning point, absolutely. But I think it, you know, ultimately starts with the quarterback and making sure that he's confident and comfortable in what we're doing. And when you give them ownership and you give them, you know, the autonomy of what we're trying to do, I think, you know, they buy in a little bit more. And that's what we've tried to build with our entire roster on offense. And again, it takes a total buy-in from the staff and the players, which we've had. And, you know, USF, obviously everybody's going to look at that as the turning point. But, you know, you really look at, you know, the A&M game, you know, probably the LSU game as opportunities that we built off of and, you know, gave us our identity as we come through this final stretch.
What was it like for you behind the scenes, your first year in the job as a coach as demanding as mid-season and just trying to get through that early part of the season and some of the pressure that came along with it?
Yeah, I mean, look, you come to Alabama for certain reasons, and you want to be at a place where football's important. You want to be at a place where that pressure's there. Like me personally, that's never anything that I've shied away from. You know, I know there's noise out there, but you try not to get in the weeds of that, and you put your head down and you work. And I think certain people can handle it and certain people can't. You know, at a young age playing the position, you face adversity, and I think that's prepared me for my career, which I'm fortunate for. You know, I threw a lot of interceptions, so there was a lot of criticism that came with that. So that's never anything that's fazed me. You know, again, like I said, I want to be at a place where the pressure's high. I want to be at a place where the demands are what they are. Like, you don't come here thinking it's going to be anything different. You come here for that challenge. You come here because you have that competitive spirit. Again, some people can and some people can't. You know, I'd like to be on the side of people that can, and you know, you just put your head down and you find a way to keep working, and you find a way to better the offense. You find a way to give your players a chance. You find a way to get the most out of your staff and your guys. And like I said, that's what we've been able to do. Coach has been great all year. You know, and again, we just continue to challenge ourselves to find a better way, to find ways to enhance what we're doing, and you know, it's led to some success, and you know, we're hungry for more. But those challenges, you know, that's what you want. You know, that's what you come to a place like this. That's why you're in the SEC. Like, for me personally, that was a challenge that I was welcoming to, and you know, I'm proud of the group, proud of what we've been able to accomplish. But you know, those challenges personally, you know, you just put your head down and work. That's really all there is. You know, there's no other way to get through hard times than put in the effort and the time to find a way through it.
How similar is your personality to Jalen's? He talked a lot about embracing hard yesterday.
Jalen's probably got a little bit more personality than I do, I would think. You know, I think I have a unique perspective of playing the position and going through some hardships that I'm able to relate to, but you know, Jalen, his mental toughness is greater than mine ever was. And, you know, we can have light moments where I can, you know, if he's amped up, I can try to settle him down by, you know, cracking a joke, and I can be dry and all that and make him laugh. But our relationship has grown tremendously over the last 11 months. And like I said, he's a joy to coach, man. I mean, his ability to block everything out, be centered and focused on what he's trying to accomplish, wanting to be better, you know, the humility that it takes to accept those challenges. He's really a special kid. He really is. And I'm fortunate to be around him every single day.
Tommy, how much of a learning curve was it coming to Alabama and kind of learning Coach Saban's philosophy and then incorporating it into your scheme and what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think right off the bat, you know that comes with the job. You know, the learning curve is learning the system and learning your players and learning kind of what their strengths are, and then learning how to reach them. You know, I think our job as teachers and coaches is to reach our players to be able to maximize their ability. So, you know, you come to a new system, a new program, new players, and you got to find ways to reach them, and you got to find ways to maximize what they can do and ultimately get the best out of them. So, you know, that's time on task. That's the ability to be with those guys every day. And, you know, so some of those things you start to develop the rapport with and relationships with, and then, you know, when you can show them why we're doing certain things that enhances their belief. You know, the curve of learning the system and all that, I think that gets a little bit overblown. You know, there's only so many things you can do on a football field. What you call it is what you call it. You know, that's never anything that's difficult to learn for one individual. So I completely agree with the philosophy of keeping things consistent, and you know, it's your job as the coordinator to make sure you're on top of it and ready to go. And you know, I would say there is a curve, but it's not as steep as maybe it's made out to be.
Tommy, Coach Saban's known for his defensive prowess, but as long as he's been around the game as successfully as he has been, does he ever coach you up with offensive stuff in the game, or does he not get enough credit for his offensive knowledge of the game?
Yeah, I mean, he's brilliant, right? And I think the ability for us as an offensive staff to meet with him as frequently as we do and hear his perspective coming from the other side of the ball is extremely valuable. And you're right. I mean, that's something that probably, I don't know if it's talked about or not, but that is part of the, you know, secret to success, I would think. You know, he has his hands on the three phases of the game, and he's able to look at all three phases. And like I said, I mean, he's a brilliant football mind. So for us to have that as a, you know, using the word resource seems like it's downplaying it, but to have that ability to see his perspective from defense of how we're trying to attack teams and, you know, his input here and there, you know, it adds value to our entire system. And you know, obviously it's his offense. You know, he sets the program and he sets the tone for what we're trying to accomplish. And you know, his ability to give us feedback has been, you know, extremely helpful throughout the season. It's something that, you know, we, you know, ask for too. Like, hey, how would you guys adjust to this? What difficulties does this present? And you know, it helps both sides of the ball.
Tommy, what was your initial reaction when Tyler told you he was planning on transferring in order to pursue lacrosse?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the kid's gone through a lot of, you know, adversity throughout his career, and his ability to, you know, find peace in what he wants to do. And you know, my biggest thing is I want him as an individual, as a person, to be happy. So if that's what's going to bring him happiness, if that's going to allow him to graduate and do certain things, then you know, I was in full support for the young man to have success in his life. And I think that gets underrated in this whole thing in football and in the transfer portal world. Like, at the end of the day, these are young men trying to make decisions, and like their happiness and their fulfillment in life is extremely important. If that's what's going to bring it for him, then you know, I fully support, you know, whatever Tyler wants to do. I've known him since he was 15 years old. So, you know, the things that is going to bring him that, you know, I'd like to support him, and I told him whatever I can do to help you, you know, I will help and supplement you any way I can. And you know, he's been tremendous with the guys in the room all year, and they've really built a great rapport. And I'm glad he's here, you know, through the bowl prep and being able to experience this and fulfill his, you know, commitment to this team.
What did you learn about Tyler and Ty Simpson when they started playing in South Florida, and then obviously having to go back and be backups to Jay for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the entire room has been tremendous about supporting one another. You look at the South Florida game, the way Jalen was supportive of them. You look vice versa throughout the course of the season, Jalen starts having success. I think there was true happiness for him from the group. You know, when you're in that room together as much as we are, you know, you build really a strong rapport and really like a family-like atmosphere. And, you know, for them to all support one another, and, you know, we try to preach as much as we can. There's one quarterback playing, but we're after shared success. You know, we're after the ability to say when a quarterback is playing well, it's a reflection of the entire group. And you know, the closeness that group has built throughout the season through competitive offseason and all those things, you know, when you look back on it, you'd probably be as proud of that as anything.
Where's Ty Simpson improved since the spring?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just see the reps he's had and the opportunities he's had in games. You've seen his ability to stay calm out there, make good decisions, make good throws. You know, we have a ton of confidence in him as the two right now. And, you know, the challenge to him is, like, you got to stay mentally ready every single week, and I think he's done a really nice job doing that. And when he's had opportunities to play, he's made plays for us.
Tommy, one guy you just added to that room was Julian Saying. I know it's super early, but just got early impressions on how he fits in with that group and what he can do on the field.
Yeah, I think his personality fits in really well. You know, he's a natural passer. You know, really
5-minute
shows
warning.
good
We will
instincts,
switch rooms
you know,
in 5
terms of
minutes.
His ability to play the quarterback position. It's extremely early, you know, but you know, he's done a nice job for us, and I expect him to continue growing the program as he goes through an off season and, you know, gets ready for spring practice.
Just because Proctor's improvement at left tackle, is there a certain point of the season where you really saw him adjust to SEC game speed, and how beneficial has that been for the entire offense?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, you probably point after Arkansas. You from that point forward, you kind of see a change in his play. I think run game wise, he's been, that's probably the area where he was strongest throughout the year. I mean, you guys have all seen him, I'm sure. He's a big, strong, powerful man. So being able to move at the point of attack, he's done a really nice job there. And then in the pass game, look, he had to adjust to some of the speed and some of the challenges that come with playing in the SEC. But I think we look at him as a strength now, and somebody that's greatly improved throughout the season. I mean, he's a young kid that's coming in and starting the SEC at left tackle. That's not an easy task. So, his ability to continue to grow and work and get better throughout the season has obviously helped our offense. I think the other guys up front, being supportive of him, you want that group of five to look at it through one lens, and Tyler Booker next to him, that makes a huge impact in his ability to communicate and help him. Obviously Book played as a young freshman a year ago, so his growth has been great. Again, I think we look at him as a strength now, and that's again a lot of credit to him and the work he's put in.
Tommy, when you got this job, early 30s, I think it was 30 years old, I asked Coach Saban, what's the difference of a 30-year-old compared to you? He looked at me like I was crazy. He said, there's no difference at all. What is your advice to people in their early 30s trying to take a big position like this? I mean, you got coaches that were head coaches that are under you now in the staff. What's your advice, and how has that been so far this year?
To be humble, I would say, would be the best advice I could give somebody. First of all, take the challenge, but work hard and really be humble. Like, don't act like you got all the answers because you don't. Don't act like you've been through all the experiences because you haven't. Lean on the people that you trust, because we have a great group of coaches, analysts, GAs. Like, it's the support we have on our staff is tremendous. Like Ken Wisenhunt hired me when I was 23 to be an offensive assistant with the San Diego Chargers. He was the offensive coordinator. Now he's an analyst on offense, and I'm the offensive coordinator. So, like, he was tremendous in my development as a young coach, and now he's somebody I can lean on. Derek Dooley was the head coach of Tennessee. Worked in the NFL. He's a guy I can lean on, through all questions that you have. So I think the humility to have, and not act like you got all the answers because you don't, and the ability to just work hard, treat people well, and then take the challenge of the job that presents itself. I'm not trying to be some motivational speaker for a bunch of young guys, but put the work in so that you're ready for your opportunity, and then have the humility to continue to learn and grow while you're going through it.
I know in the past with analysts, like Sark might help out with third down, or Coach Locke with red zone. Like with guys with Ken Wisenhunt, Derek Dooley, do you give them like special projects or specialties to help you with?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I don't want to get into all the details of what each guy's tasks are, but that's exactly how you handle it. And, you have a wealth of knowledge in the room, and look, we don't have all the, like one thing I say is, like, if we're gonna all think alike, then nobody's thinking very much, right? And so we want ideas, we want input, we want different ways to view things. We don't want groupthink where everything gets streamlined into one idea. We want to challenge what we're able to do offensively. We want to challenge the ideas that get brought in. And the more people feel like they have the ability to do that, the more you can enhance the group. And so that's something we welcome. Guys have specific areas of the game plan that we try to focus on, but it's a revolving door of ideas. Sometimes they fit into what we're trying to do, sometimes they don't. But the more you're able to bring that to the table, the more guys with a lot of knowledge feel like they can pitch things and make sure that they have a voice with what we're trying to do offensively.
Tom, Isaiah Bond said that he was asked about the sign stealing scandal, and said that players have been watching film on their iPads. I guess, can you speak to why coaches felt that was sort of the decision to make, and how maybe you guys have had to change plan or prep from normally?
I understand the question, and I respect it. I'm not putting any of my focus into that stuff. So I really don't have a whole lot to say about whatever was going on there. We're just trying to give our players the best chance to have success on the field.
All right, we're going to go ahead and have the players and coach switch rooms.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.